Hey guys, my name is Jason McCoy here with Big Daddy Unlimited, and I'm here to explain to you why your gun seems to always shoot low and to the left. If you're experiencing excessive recoil or barrel flip, inconsistent groupings, or just want to speed up your draw time, in this video we want to cover the basic fundamentals of dry firing and include a few basic drills to get you started at home. For those who don't know, dry firing is a form of training using an unloaded firearm. Oftentimes it is quite obvious the difference between those who dry fire at the range and those who do not. Those who dry fire on a regular basis typically appear much more confident with their firearm and deliberate with their movement and firearm manipulation compared to those who don't. Because of the events in 2020 and 2021, there was a huge surge in first-time gun buyers. By the way, welcome you guys. Consequently though, this led to a surge in ammo demand. Due to high demand and no change in supply, the price of ammo has skyrocketed, making regular trips to the range quite expensive. Through dry fire training, we can optimize our time spent at the range by practicing fundamentals at our home, saving our precious ammo to exercise accuracy and recoil control at the range. Real quick to dispel some FUD lore here, it's okay to dry fire your gun. It's not going to hurt it. With the exception of rimfire guns and some 1911s and 2011 models, most modern striker-fired pistols like the Glock 19, 17, or the SIG P365 can be dry fired without causing any damage to the firearm. So starting out, we need to make sure we're holding the gun correctly. We see a lot of bad techniques on TV and in the movies. For instance, a proper grip is really important when it comes to recoil control, accuracy, function of the gun, and overall safety in general. A poor grip will affect accuracy and make the gun seem to have more recoil than it actually does, or even possibly cause a malfunction. So before we get started, check and make sure your firearm is unloaded. Then check again. Remove all ammo or loaded magazines from your training area to reduce the possibility of a negligent discharge or any kind of accident. Start with your dominant hand and make sure your grip is high and tight. Press firmly against the beaver tail. It's there for a reason. Be sure to keep your trigger finger off the trigger until you're ready to fire. I keep mine nice and high on the frame. Now with your other hand, fill in the gap that's on the other side of the firearm with the ball of your palm and then wrap your fingers around. Let your thumb run down the frame of the gun to help maximize recoil reduction. Your thumb should be stacked like so. Imagine Animal Planet. We want to maximize contact between our hands and the firearm so we can better handle recoil. Now present our sights on target. Be sure that you bring the sights up to your eye and not the other way around. You shouldn't be tucking or lowering your head to see your sights. Also, when you have the firearm on target in front of you, be sure to keep your arms slightly bent. Don't lock them out. Bending your arms slightly like this will help reduce recoil. I have a standard US PSA target here that I'm going to use with some tape on the A-zone, but if you don't have one at home, you can use light switches, power outlets, or even just a small piece of tape on the wall. This drill can be done from the holster, inside the waistband or outside the waistband. If you don't have a holster, simply use a table. This drill will build familiarity with the firearm and make it feel more comfortable in your hands, but more importantly, exercising a proper grip will allow for reduced felt recoil, a flatter shooting experience, and much more accurate follow-up shots as we're reducing felt recoil and getting our gun back on target faster. So our last drill will get you back on target faster and reduce felt recoil, but learning your trigger and how to pull the trigger will allow you to manage much more accurate shots. More often than not, trigger pull is an afterthought to new shooters. If you have been to the range and it seems like your gun is always shooting low and to the left or to the right, it could be because of your trigger pull. Now I know we've checked and rechecked, but once again, let's make sure the gun is clear and safe, as we will be using the trigger for this drill. So we're going to start out with a standard dry fire drill. We're going to draw our weapon, light up our sights on target, and slowly pull the trigger straight back, making sure to fire from the wall. Most triggers have a little travel and then some mush before they reach the wall. The wall actually refers to the resistance felt in the trigger right before the firing pin is released. As you practice this, you'll begin to memorize your trigger pull, and then you should be able to tell when you're on the wall and when the gun will go off. Try to avoid curling your finger to pull the trigger. Curling can cause you to involuntarily move the firearm while pulling the trigger. Keep in mind that even a 1 or 2 millimeter movement at the barrel can result in your shot landing inches or even feet from its intended target downrange. This movement is so much easier to see when you're using red dot sights. You can also observe it when you're using iron sights as well. If you might want to try a red dot sight in the future, consider giving us a try. It's 99 cents to sign up for the first month and $10 every month after that. If you buy anything gun related often, it might be worth checking out. Let's talk about trigger reset. Another variation of this drill is to draw, get on target, pull the trigger, and keep it depressed. Once your firing pin falls, rack the slide, let the trigger reset, and then fire again from the reset. This trains proper trigger pull and will remedy any random involuntary movements you may have been having and discourages trigger spanking when using live ammo. Trigger spanking refers to rapidly pulling the trigger, but instead of shooting from the wall, your finger comes off the trigger, causing the gun to move slightly to the left or to the right. So now that we've worked over the basics, we can start trying to push ourselves a little bit. For this drill, we're going to need a shot timer. If you don't have one, eventually you should get one. Shot timers are almost a necessity for training. Shot timers allow us to quantify our base and allows us to measure our growth on the range. But for now, if you don't, it's okay. There's some shot timer apps available for iPhone and Android. So for this drill, we're going to start by setting a 2-second par time on our timer. This will give us 2 tones 2 seconds apart. The goal for this exercise is to get on target, line up our sights, and pull the trigger while practicing perfect technique. Once we are able to consistently operate within this time interval, we will then shorten the par time and speed it up. The goal here is to develop muscle memory and speed up our draw time. Dry fire is a very important form of training that all gun owners, especially CCW people, should practice regularly. Dry fire should constitute about 60 to 80% of a shooter's training time. Like we said earlier in the video, ammo is expensive. Dry fire allows us to practice most of the fundamentals at home for free, so then we're able to focus on the fundamentals that require ammunition at the range. There are tons of other tools out there that can aid in dry firing, such as practice mags, which reset your trigger, bore lasers that give you a visual feedback, but we won't be covering those today. If you'd like to learn more about this subject, the guys over at T-Rex Arms and Grand Thumb have great videos talking about this. My name is Jason McCoy from Big Daddy Unlimited. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.